Broadcasting around the world, this is On the Record with Christian Briggs. Serious talk about what's happening around the world and how it affects you. Unfiltered truth for a world on edge. Follow us on X at BMC_HAM. Live in 3, 2, 1.
President Trump is making America affordable again, and that's the bottom line of today's top story. As of today, Friday, February 13th, inflation dropped to 2.4% in January, dropping from 2.7% in December and hitting an 8-month low. That's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Now, not only is that a great signal of where the U.S. economy is going right now as we speak, but also it goes to show how so many of the so-called experts on Wall Street have no clue what they're talking about. See, the experts said inflation would rise by about 0.3%. That was their official forecast, that prices would increase. But instead of rising, they fell, and we came in under budget. And even more interesting here, and please take note, the core CPI fell to 2.5%, the lowest level we've seen since March of 2021. Now here with his reaction is Christian Briggs, CEO of Hard Asset Management. Christian, thank you for being here.
Hey, you too. I love that 40,000 government jobs slashed, man. You need to have no mercy on that one.
Well, they bury that, but in my opinion, Christian, that's the lead, and I say keep going.
Oh, yeah. And you know what's funny about it's not just they're slashing government jobs. They're actually slashing them in areas that were kind of like layered. Like you have upper management, middle management, and then you have worker bees. Biden administration, to increase and inflate the jobs growth, they were hiring people, sometimes 3 and 4 people doing the exact same position. The accountability was basically saying, look, let's go over and try to get 4 or 5 million people hired during his administration. Where are we going to get it? Private sector is not creating it with the inflation. So they created what they call ancillary products. I call it like positions of which you would have 3, 4, up to 5 people doing the exact same job at the same time. 5 people trying to put in a light bulb, 5 people trying to take out a light bulb. And so Trump's like, we don't need 5 people to change a light bulb.
Yeah, the waste is insane, Christian. But getting back to the crux of what's going on, everybody's wondering, is 2026 going to finally be the year of this economic golden age that President Trump has been talking about? And I want to get your thoughts about that and your predictions.
Yeah, how many times have we had this great conversations about Trump's policies take a bit of time, but when they start to kick in, it's the roller coaster downhill. You're not going to stop it. You're on the ride. Mm-hmm. And the good news is it's a great ride. So to go to your question, 26 is going to be the beginning of a multi-term legacy for Donald J. Trump, the man, the president.
Okay.
And what that means is that he's laid the foundation to take us long past Trump 2, like second term. So when you look at the big, beautiful bill, and there's a lot of parts in it that really help the small business community, especially in the Latinos. He really looked at that and made an effort to try to help everybody in every area. Because remember, when the small business does well, and people don't realize the economic impact small businesses have, and that's 500 employees or less, so I can best define that. And that is that 99% of the GDP's productivity comes from small businesses. So when they do well, everybody does well. So the big, beautiful bill, like remember what President Trump said last year, wait until 26, give me the time, the runway. I promise you we're going to see an explosion in economics and a reduction in inflation. There it is. What more do you need?
Well, but to your point, I want to ask you, I mean, how soon are Americans going to feel real relief? We're seeing it in the housing market. That's awesome. We're seeing it finally at the pump. That's amazing. We're seeing it in grocery stores too, but I want to know how much further we can take this and when we can expect to see even more relief coming.
Let's start with relief number 1, housing, since you brought it up. Interest rates are way down. I mean,
Okay.
there were 7.5%, 8% mortgages out there for people. That was devastating. Now we're down. I just literally today talked to one of the largest mortgage brokers. He said they're giving mortgages now in the 6%. He expects it could be sub 6% within the next few months, maybe 5.9, 5.8. That's fantastic. That's money. Now you can start doing that. But here's another thing in housing that's important. Because of the immigration policies that President Trump ran on and that he's actually instituting, Do you know that rents across America have dropped as much as 30 to 35% in markets? Now that gives people hope. So if they weren't able to maybe buy yet because the rates were too high under the Biden administration, the rates are coming down. If they had to rent and they were paying a little bit more than they would have should have, well, guess what? Rents are way down. Now you're readjusting the basis of economic prosperity. So that prosperity takes about 12 to 18 months to work its way through the economy. But now the numbers are there. So what I'm trying to tell people is, well, remember we talked about this? Give the president a couple minutes, okay? Don't expect instant gratification on policy, but it's working.
Yeah, well, and to your point, it's been what? 13 months, give or take, right? And he's undoing not just 4 years of garbage policy economically, but decades of garbage economic policy.
Yeah. Oh, no question. Do you know that when you look back at the highest levels of inflation, every time the inflation starts to move up and then it spikes, it's Democratic-led administrations handing it off to a Republican administration. And guess what happens when inflation Republicans get in? Here we go, straight down. So again, what we had was an uphill battle to try to keep economic prosperity in the bottom 70% of America during the Biden administration. Now it's downhill with Trump. See, Trump did three things that are critically important. One, he assessed the housing market. By immigration reform, he brought down rents by as much as 30 to 35% in various markets. That helps everybody. Two, he took the aggressive initiative to lower rates, to lower mortgages. The tariffs have been incredibly prosperous from a federal level because of all the money it's bringing, almost $400 billion. So the deficit's gone way down. This guy is a rock star. And the third thing he's about to do, which I love this, is how much big tax refunds are we getting? Do you know what the average American is going to get a 22% greater tax refund than they would have under Joe Biden? 22%. That's not chicken feed. That's real money that will go toward what? GDP growth and small businesses.
It's really, it goes to show, I know it's cliche, but this is because it's true, Christian. It's deeply true. Elections have consequences. I can only imagine where the U.S. economy would be under President Kamala Harris right now. So moving forward, I think 2026 will be a banner year. Final question then for you as well, because it is tax season. So do you have any advice for other advice for Americans who are looking for any extra savings in terms of filing their taxes this year?
Well, the good news is the way the tax code is, the way they specifically brought those tax rates down and made those things permanent, not just reflective of a short period of time.
Yes.
You can start to budget more. So now you have something what I consider to be a framework of understanding. The markets and individuals, whether it's a small business individual or even markets in general, they don't like uncertainty. For the first time in a decade, really a decade, since 16 when Trump was, first term, we now have certainty. So if I was going to tell anybody coming into the investment community, again, I'm not a registered advisor by any means, so this is my personal opinion, is take a look at the long-term aspects of where the next version of technology resides. I love the whole AI play. I think long-term it's great. Look at the viability of the fact you have more money. And for some people, sometimes that extra money goes toward more debt reduction.
Sure,
and there's nobody who will ever argue that debt reduction shouldn't be your number one focus, because reduction creates increasing in equity, whether it's the house, whether it's your car. Those things increase equity participation by paying off the debt. It naturally has the equity being built. So I would start with debt reduction first, look at long-term aspects, follow the money. It's all going in next generation technology, whether it's big Fortune 50 companies or all the way down to the small quantum companies.
Got it. Christian, thank you so much for the insight, and thank you for your time today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Gold has more than tripled since September 2022, rising from $1,656 per ounce to over $5,000 by February 2026. That's a 205% gain, outperforming the market, and proving why gold is the ultimate long-term hedge. As global debt soars and currencies weaken, central banks are hoarding gold at record pace. Why aren't you? Call 844-426-4653 or visit bmcham.com. Protect your future with real assets. Own gold now.